Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be counting down my top 5 favorite LEGO Star Wars sets that I currently have in my collection. But before we get into all of that, today was the first day of summer vacation. So to commemorate that, let's go ahead and burn up some of my old school supplies real quick. Alright, now that that's over with, here's a quick look at number 5 on my list, which is of course the ARC 170. This is set number 7259, was released all the way back in 2005. I like this set simply for its nostalgic value, and I think it just looks good. You know, this was released back mid-2000s, it was still sold up until maybe about 2006, 2007, so for that reason I sort of remember this set and I've always wanted to get it. Didn't happen to pick it up till a few years ago, but I think it's honestly a great set, and there's probably good reason that I didn't pick it up until a couple years ago. The set itself is very fragile, and I realized that while I was building it. It seemed like pieces were constantly falling off, which is, this set, I guess, I never really bought for anything other than to put it on my shelf, really, and add it to my collection. And for that reason, I think it's fine, but I don't know that this would hold up too well for younger children. But just the raw look of it, and the fact that the set has older value to me, and just the fact that I remember it, certainly makes this worthy of putting it towards the back and somehow finding this on my list. And here's a little bit of another angle to go ahead and show you. You can see that there clearly comes with 3 minifigures and 1 droid right there. They didn't have the full cutout visors to show the full face like they do on the newer pilot minifigures, so they simply took the plain Episode 3 helmet with that little cutout visor right there and just put the pilot helmet markings on that. Of course, I love the minifigure selection with this set as well, and all around I think that this is a pretty decent set, especially considering its time. Now number 4 stays relatively within the same time period in LEGO terms, as well as within the Star Wars galaxy itself. This is set number 4482, the ATTE that was released all the way back in 2003, and of course is yet another Clone Wars era set. It includes those 4 awesome clone troopers down there. I absolutely love that minifigure, and is all around an awesome army builder set, so if you're to pick multiple ones of these up, you get some pretty nice vehicles and minifigures to your collection. I think it looks pretty good for its time yet again. You know, there's a few areas where I think they could have included a few miscoloration parts, some different colored parts, and of course it looks a little bit, there's quite a few exposed studs, which I guess doesn't really bother me. The cannon right here does not actually move up and down, just side to side, but the back does actually open up to reveal a red colored speeder bike, which of course is an awesome addition. And just the little things like that, the removable top, which also includes this little sort of troop rack right there to hold your weapons and your soldiers on, is another awesome addition. All around, just a great set for its time. I honestly have always loved this set. I absolutely just had to include this somewhere within my top 5. Now number 3 really isn't that great looking of a set. You can see there's a lot of exposed studs and a little bit of a blocky build, and really just sort of one set color scheme. The colors don't really look the greatest on this. But this is the first Star Wars set ever released. I know it's not the first number-wise, this is 7140, but it's the first released of its wave all the way back in 1999. You can see it comes with 4 minifigures right there. We have Luke Skywalker, of course, R2-D2, Biggs Dark Lighter, and a Rebel Technician. And then it also comes with this little supply cart, and there's a few different functions on here. Really not, I guess it's about average for its time in terms of advancement in LEGO terms. The S-foils can be locked into attack position just using your, whoops, you can see it's a little fragile too. Just using your basic connector pieces. You can fold those up, as well as the opening cockpit. Kind of a basic little set. I'll go ahead and show you the inside right there. Again, these aren't full-on reviews, but just a little computer, that's about it. A real little runway, should I say, for the Death Star trench run. But that's really not a whole lot going on with the set, but I honestly just really like how it's the first Star Wars set. And it's really the only X-Wing that I have. I know I should probably get some other ones, but I just think this is an awesome set, especially considering its time. So let's go ahead and get on to number 2 on the list. Now, I honestly expected number 2 to surprise you, and I certainly think that you wouldn't expect to see this at the very near top of my list. But this was released all the way back in 2002, set number 7153, Jango Fett Slave 1. And it's kind of hard to tell that this was released all the way back then. You know, I've shown you some sets that look okay for their time, some sets that look decent, but I think this looks phenomenal for its time. You can see they're already using some pretty advanced pieces, just looking at some of those large piece molds, especially considering its time period. And this is almost the exact same design as the Jango or the Boba Fett Slave one released in 2006. So this is pretty advanced for its time. And if you compare that to the 2000 Boba Fett's Slave one, which I'll go ahead and show you right here. You can just see that it looks a lot better, especially considering that's only 2 years apart. And of course, I love those minifigures. They're pretty rare. Go ahead and set this down, give you a little bit better of a view. You can see that just looks really, really good for its time period. And let's go ahead and get on to my top favorite LEGO Star Wars set ever released that I currently have in my collection. But I'll give you a hint, it's within the same time period as this set right here. Now, if you've seen my Star Wars collection video, you'd know that I absolutely just love this set right here. I, in fact, bought multiple ones of these, and I just have tons of those clones right there, because I absolutely just love this set. This is set number 7163, released back in 2002, the same year as the Jango Fett Slave one. You can see it comes with some awesome minifigures. I should have 2 of those gray battle droids, but I've bought, you know, multiple sets. I've only gotten 1, so I guess they're pretty fragile, and they often break, it looks like from the pictures at least. It comes with 4 clone troopers, a Jedi Bob, they just call him that, he's an unnamed Jedi, as well as a Droideka right there, and again, 2 of those super battle droids. It doesn't look like, it's probably about average for its time. They certainly had the pieces to make this, but it's just iconic. This is when I think the Clone Wars and when I think Episode 2, I think this gunship, and I think the clones being led by Jedi into battle. And this, the set perfectly captures that essence right there. You know, there's some pretty cool features, whether it be the opening doors or whatever. This, you can open up the front, which I think is kind of weird, and I think that's a little unnecessary for the set itself. But there's some pretty cool stuff on this set, and all around I think that this set, especially considering its price back in 2002, was pretty decent. You got a great price per piece ratio, you got some great minifigures. I absolutely just love the minifigures. That's probably what sets this at the top for me, and this honestly just really has always been a favorite set of mine, even when I couldn't afford it several years ago. So that's a real quick look at my top 5 favorite LEGO Star Wars sets in my collection. Be sure to check out my entire LEGO Star Wars collection video to see all the sets I have, and I do apologize that this was probably pretty lenient towards the prequel era and the more original Star Wars sets, but that's what I grew up with, and that's always what I have liked, and as I mentioned before, the nostalgia effect certainly has had a huge effect on me personally. And be sure to put in your comments what your favorite LEGO Star Wars sets are. Be sure to like and subscribe to see for some more awesome content, and as always, be sure to have a nice day, guys.